stand up and sketch can kind of seem, in terms of like traits and habit wise and little hacks, it kind of doesn't go both ways. Like
Mhm.
you can, if you're doing a bit and it's bailing, you can kind of weasel your way out of it.
Yeah.
But like if you're in a sketch and by the end of the first page it sucks, you're like, well, buckle up,
Yeah,
because
you got a wig
like I
on, like
can't.
yeah,
There's like three other people.
yeah,
This
yeah.
is their, specifically there, because like
Uh,
there's three other people. This is their sixth, seventh, or eighth sketch that they've memorized. So you can't just like go rogue. What's up, man?
Not much. How are you?
Not much, man. What's going on?
Welcome to the show. Thanks for
Oh
making the
my
time to
god.
come on.
Of course, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Uh,
Uh, I'll start off by asking you, did you have a chance to think about like what your one word wanted to be?
Energy, man.
Energy. Nice. Why'd you pick energy?
Yeah. It's just like the secret sauce, in at least in what I'm doing right now in terms of sketch and improv. Um, and that's, it sounds counterintuitive because sometimes like when you do a sketch or and the character is sort of low energy or sort of passive or whatever, you still have to find something that like the audience in real time can kind of latch onto. I mean, it's
Hmm.
easier to kind of go big and to go, um it's just as hard in the paint as possible. It's kind of like a real, specifically with like sketch and absolutely with improv, is to just like kind of lightning bolt, get the audience on your side and get them to kind of invest in whatever it is that you're doing or talking about.
I feel like that would be so much of sketch and improv as well, is to have some energy in the right places as well, because you're essentially dealing with just bare bones to make the funny happen. Like I was watching like an old stand-up clip of mine around when I started, and I was like, whoa, like I was doing too much energy in like the wrong places. Like it just didn't make sense.
Yeah,
I was kind of just like, hey, look at me. And now I've kind of
it's
found that
it's
center.
it's like a level of like, and I, you know, because in uh I just said a lot without saying anything. Been doing this a lot. You can get to a point where you're doing too much energy, and then people are just anxious and like, "Oh, the heck is this guy doing?" Um, so that's just something that comes with, I think, time and doing sketches. Like the level of being like the confidence to come with a booming volume and kind of the right energy just to get people on board. But it's so luckily with what I've been doing, just me at the Sunday Company, you go up so often to the point where any sort of excess energy where you get too much going,
You figure
it
that
kind of,
out.
well, you get too tired to have it.
Oh
So it
yeah,
kind of
yeah, yeah. I
like
guess it's more so than
it
about like
like
conserving your energy for the amount of shows. For people also listening that don't know, you're part of the Groundlings, which is like a big like sketch group company in Los Angeles, right?
I'm part of the Sunday Company,
The
which
Sunday
is
Company.
like it's right below the main company.
That's
So it's the
amazing though.
weekly shows, but there's some really big Sunday Company alums, like Conan O'Brien was a Sunday Company. Um, Caitlin Olsen from It's Always Sunny. Um, and my one of my favorite comedians working today is a guy named Kyle Dunnigan,
Oh, I love Kyle. He's so
who
funny.
is the funniest guy in the world.
Yeah.
Um, like the best stand up and the best impressions, and his like,
It's funny though, like he
if
has
you
really
haven't,
good impressions. Like his Bill Maher is uncanny. But like I love that he's kind of like made up his own impressions for certain people. but it still
well, that's like
works.
it's well, it's like him. I mean, and I think for this, like, this is what sets him apart from so many things is that he's not just impression, he's also point of view.
Hmm.
And that point of view is so like it's not married at all to the person, but it's like it's derived from like a version of who this person is. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
it's never not funny. He's so good.
yeah, yeah. It's
Um
crazy.
like he does like a Ben Shapiro impersonation that kills me.
I got to see that one. I don't
And
think I've seen that yet.
he does like the fresh he does his YouTube series on Joe Biden
Oh yeah, with Kurt
is
Metzger, right?
incredible. Yeah, the
Yeah.
fresh prez of whatever the heck it is.
Yeah.
You watch it and you're just like, oh man, it's like I don't know. Some streaming companies just gives this guy a ton of money so he can just make these weekly. They're
Yeah.
so funny.
It's unreal
His
that it
and
hasn't
hit
happened faster, like based on how much he's exploited just from doing those things. It's the thing, I mean, a lot of these people, like the people that run like Comedy Central or the people that run like a lot of these like major networks, even in Canada, like CBC, they're not really like they're still doing the old method of like, well, we'll have like a writer's pitch for ideas within the company, and then we'll do a casting session, and then we'll find the right people to fit the right role. And it's like, just look on the internet. Just look at
no, yeah,
what everyone's talking about and just DM those people. Boom, you're done. Like
yeah,
you just skipped a
yeah.
million
That's
steps.
and it's yeah, it's well, I mean, there's kind of a blessing and a curse to that because it's just like, yeah, you could just find stuff so easily, but it's like if you're going to be a self starter, like you have to do everything.
Of course.
So, and that's great, but it's because this is an incredible time to do comedy because you can kind of. I mean, I'm in the middle of editing a pilot I shot that I pitched to Fox, CBS, and NBC, and they all passed. And I'm a big believer in it, so I just shot it with friends
Amazing.
before the strike, and now I'm just editing it and trying to figure out how to
You got that in
shoot the
just in
rest of it.
time, eh? Right before the strike.
I know, right before,
Like
so it's like, all right,
that's some universal timing. Like I really believe in that shit. Had you have thought to yourself like, I'll get to it next week. Like it might not have been finished, and then you'd be sitting on
oh,
like a
yeah, I don't want to get, yeah,
75% film thing.
I don't want to get anybody in trouble.
Yeah,
But
yeah, true.
it's just, yeah, no, it is the frustration of like the lightning fast quickness of someone like Kyle Donning and like kind of the glacial speed, which um kind of the traditional powers that be move at, and that's fine. I mean, that's just it is still it's like a 20th century idea,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
yeah,
We're not gonna figure it
but
out that quickly, right?
no, no, but it's but again, getting back to Kyle, I mean, he's a Sunday Company alum, uh, but he's just and I don't know, he's such an incredible performer because his stand-up's also so good.
Mm-hmm.
So it's and that's kind of the interesting thing is I don't know, my takeaway from my time so far I've just finished my first 6 month rotation of weekly shows there on the main stage,
Nice.
and actually just got renewed for a second six. I know when we were talking about podcasts, I was working up to closing. And it's fun. It's so much fun, but it's super stressful. It's a lot of work. But you're basically taking all your best sketches and all your best co-writes and solo writes from the the second half of the first 6 months. You're like, all right, what represents you as a sketch and improv comedy
And
artist
trying
right
to
now?
move that into the next 6 months to like expand. You're like they're giving you basically like more time to showcase like who you are.
Yeah, and it's super competitive and fun. And I mean, it's an interesting team sport because you're working together, and at the same time, it's you can get renewed or you can get cut. And
Mhm.
for those of you not familiar, the most you can do it is 3 6 month rotations. So I just started in 6 months. So I'm going to be shooting, or I'm going to be doing shows every Sunday up until I think May 5th, and then
Nice.
possibly beyond.
So do
Yeah.
you like, do they often, kind of look at the Sunday Company and see who's
Sorry.
they not I don't want to say like performing the best, but like who has the best ideas or best stage presence or whatever they're looking for? Do they often like move that person into like the main stage shows? Is that kind of the idea? It's like a farming section for their main
The,
stage stuff?
I think or it's at the end of every 6 months, your work is reviewed, and it's, they all kind of collectively get together and discuss, um usually after 3 6 month rotations they could, you know
God, that'd be yeah, that
you
is
could
stressful. I'm thinking if someone did that to me as a stand-up, like every 6 months, they go, "All right, let's look at all the sets that you did in the last 6 months, and
it's
let me."
interesting. Well, it's here's the thing, it's so much fun you forget how stressful it is. That
Sure.
makes sense, because it
Yeah.
is the most fun thing. It's the most fun thing to do in the world. It's like, um is someone who's bombed so hard as a stand up. It's like bombing with a teammate. It's so much better.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's so
It's
true.
so, but it is also,
Oh, that when you get that sweat that rolls down the back of your
you're just
neck.
like, you're like,
And oh,
nothing is working. But like,
yeah.
that's like, so, and don't quote me, but the legend is like, that's like where someone like Will Ferrell would get like his superpowers, was like he would be doing a sketch, it wouldn't be going great at all, and he was just like, I'm gonna dig my heels in and I'm gonna commit even harder, and then by the end of the sketch he just like turned people. And it's
Yeah.
kind of like, it is such a, it's such a goofy non, um I'm trying to think of the right term. It's such a goofy science, if that makes sense. It
Yeah.
like, certain things work even though there's no reason they should, and other things that, uh like, so for our week, tomorrow's Wednesday night, so we're going to meet at the main stage, the entire Sunday Company, and we'll basically go for about 7 or 8 hours,
Damn.
pitching sketches. Usually, um everyone will have like at
Is
least
there a
four
limit
sketches.
per person?
No, there's no limit, and then
Like if
you'll have some
somebody
people.
had the best, if two people had the best sketches out of everybody, does that like, do you know what I mean? Does stuff like that
It's
happen?
everyone's really good,
Okay.
so it's like usually like, I don't know, and it's like baseball, um or like, I guess in hockey, when someone's having, you know or like a good goalie's having a good string of games or
Yeah.
something. It's weird. It's
They're
like a
like,
bunch of relief pitchers getting together and throwing great innings, because it goes like that. And I've
yeah.
noticed, like, if I'm having a rough time and nothing I'm pitching is going well. Sorry, just back to explaining what it is. We all get together to pitch, so like for like 7 or 8 hours, pitch sketches, fully 4 page sketches, 4 to 7 page sketches. Um, we cast everybody else in the company. We'll put them up. Our director will be watching and be like, maybe, no, maybe. They just kind of go through anything. They whittle it down to like a 2 hour sketch
Mm.
show based off of new material. And you put up a new sketch show every week. So that's Wednesday night. We'll find out the sketches like Thursday or so, and costume and memorize, and try to get a performance down that's hopefully pretty funny.
So that's a tight
Um,
timeline. Wednesday, you said you're
yeah,
pitching it, and then
yeah.
by Sunday, you're performing
Sunday,
what was pitched on Wednesday.
Sunday afternoon, you're off book,
Wow.
um, and you go through it. You rehearse it, and then 7:30 doors open at 7, and the show's at 7:30. But I mean, it's awesome. It's and you know this. It's so as someone trying to carve your name into the comedy world. It's to focus solely on your material and what you're working on and not worrying about promoting shows. These shows are all sold out,
Yeah,
and they
it's amazing.
the box office does a great job really promoting it. And um yeah, and they've kind of kept up this great tradition, so it's a fun, really awesome thing to be a part of. um but as for like, once you kind of get into something, I guess it's kind of like getting trying to think of a good it's like getting past at the comedy store or something, where
Hmm.
it's or something like that.
Yeah, it's that same feeling.
What's it at because where do you usually do stand up? The
I'm
Yuck
in
Yucks or
Ottawa, so I'm kind of like I started producing my own monthly show, which has been sold out the last two shows, which is like you were saying, a great feeling knowing that like, oh, okay, I can just focus on what I'm gonna say, and I don't have to worry about like the room being empty or like trying to sell tickets the day of. But we usually do
yeah.
Yuck Yucks or Absolute Comedy. Laugh Lounge is a new one that's popped up in the area. But I think for a lot of Canadian comics, they want to get like JFL new faces. That's like what everyone, or Winnipeg Comedy Festival, or any of these like local festivals, kind of give you your first starting credits within Canada. And then from there, if you want to go to the US, it just becomes easier because you have like, oh, okay, their institutions have recognized them as professional comics, whether you're signed to Yuck Yucks or you've done JFL, like that kind of
Mm,
legitimizes you a little bit more. But yeah, that would be the same as
yeah.
like the past at the store or like at the stand or now the mothership. That's going to be a credit in and of itself, right? Like if oh, he's done the
Yeah.
mothership, like that becomes a credit.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like that's what everybody at Sunday Company is working towards, is trying to have one of their sketches or one of their characters get on. And then we've had some people at a Sunday Company recently go into JFL. So it's yeah, no,
Nice.
it's a
So what made you want
but
to like go through the whole application process of going, like there's a big decision I think that happens in a lot of people's lives when they decide to pursue something like this, where you kind of force yourself to do it, or something happens in your life where you're like, nah, I got to do this.
yeah, I think there it was just like the people that came out of that place with respect to Groundlings, or like everything they've done like informed my sensibilities. So it was just like, like with art, it's a communication, hopefully with the past and the future at the same time, in terms of people that, like, the people that built that place are, incredible. Like Phil Hartman, Jan Hooks, Kristen Wiig, like Will Ferrell. It was kind of, they came through there. And my background, I kind of grew up somewhat involved and with family connections to stand up. So I felt like improv and sketch was
Nice.
like a really wonderful way to kind of forge a new path, if that makes sense.
No, it makes total sense.
Um, yeah, and it's so interesting to kind of balance the two of them in your brain, because you think they're so alike, but they are, but they're also so different. It's so wonky, like
I feel like improv though would
it's
really feed like the sketch abilities. because it's that
Absolutely.
it's that have a thought, act on it kind of thing for improv. And then when you're writing sketch, you have a thought and you act on it, you write it down and you punch it
Yeah.
up and you make it
No,
funnier.
improv feeds into sketch and also feeds into stand up. Um, but there are so many, it's interesting how many times stand up and sketch can kind of seem, in terms of like traits and habit wise and little hacks, it kind of doesn't go both ways. Like
Mhm.
you can, if you're doing a bit and it's bailing, you can kind of weasel your way out of it.
Yeah.
But like if you're in a sketch and by the end of the first page it sucks, you're like, well, buckle up
Yeah,
because
you got a wig
like I
on, like
can't.
yeah,
There's like three other people.
yeah,
This
yeah.
is their specifically there because like
Uh,
there's three other people. This is their sixth, seventh, or eighth sketch that they've memorized. So you can't just like go rogue. Um, and I think I don't know. I've always been interested in within the realm of comedy as like track and field. I always kind of like to think of comedy as just it's track and field. Some people are really great at spinning. Some people can, hurdles, javelin, whatever. It's all these kind of different events. For me, I think I think film and TV has always kind of been where I've gravitated towards, or at least the work that I respond to the most.
mhm.
Like like Caddyshack, Ghostbusters, Back to School, um, and just so many of those movies, like 80s movies, 80s comedies. There's such a direct line to like Second City, like John Candy, Eugene Levy, or like Bill Murray, and more recently like Kristen Wiig. So it was just for me, it was to kind of strengthen my soul, which is why I kind of wandered into the Groundlings on the Lark, and then it was just as soon as it like put up a sketch and it worked, I was just like, oh my god, this is awesome.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
Was it like a feeling of like, oh, I love this, or was it more so like a love of the response for what your idea was?
I think it was both. It was
Mm.
just a way to connect. It's like it meant something to me to make something that means something to you, and it's simultaneously. It's really fun. Like I'm really proud of a sketch we just put on at our closing. Um, and I mean, I'll share the link with you. I just put it up on YouTube, and that's
Nice.
interesting too because you're also like it's live sketch on YouTube, which doesn't like sometimes it works and sometimes it translates.
Is it
But
the
for me,
crunch
I just
bars?
yes,
I wonder if I would get a copyright strike from your channel if I shared
no,
it.
no, 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 no. You
Because
can
I
go
don't know
ahead
if
and
the
share
YouTube
it.
algo just like automatically is like, oh, nope, can't do that shit. Let's
No,
see. Let's see. Let me see. This one here. Maybe we
yeah, that
can.
one.
I don't know if you want me to play it or you can talk over it.
No, you can go totally play it. This
What's
is
gonna
interesting.
change? Stay ready. I'm sorry, Miranda. At my son's middle school baseball game. You'll have to bear with me with the noise and the shouting. Listen, I'm ready to get this divorce done and finalized and out of my life as soon as possible. Yeah. I'll tell you, you know what? It has taken a while, and I'll tell you this. I'm done letting things from distract me from being in my son's life. All right? I mean, where is Paul right now? Yeah. Yeah. No, I'll tell you where he's at. He's in Gatlinburg with that slow idiot from tennis, Julia something dumb. Yeah, no, I saw him on the Instagram. Yeah, they were tubing together. Yeah.
It's the repetition.
Yeah. I know, she can't even water ski. Yeah. she is ugly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I tell you, I don't want to run into her on the street. I got a beat about it. About a foot. What in the hell is going on over here? Something's going on. What in the Sam Hill? Miranda, honey, I'm sorry. I'm just a little distracted at the moment. It's a lot of sugar. Yeah, no. He's in the outfield kicking rocks. This is something else. Yeah. What? A Kit Kat? Miranda, honey, listen, I'm sorry. Honey, I'm not talking to you. Listen to me. Listen to me. Miranda, there is something going down at the ballpark. Miranda, what? He's eating like a burrito. What in the hell? Listen, Miranda, I'm sorry. Listen, there's a grown man sitting here. He's finished a couple of Crunch Bars. He's making his way through a Kit Kat like he's playing the damn harmonica. Why is he eating it like that? Yeah, the last was a Kit Kat. Listen, I don't know what the hell's going on. He's pulling candy out of a bag. Yeah. There is something going down. Miranda, honey, I ain't heard a single word you said. Yeah. I don't want to hear about your life right now. There's something going down. At the ballpark. Damn. He's just eating it hard. Why is he eating like that? Honey, I don't know. I just saw something. I just saw something. Honey, I'll tell you this. I don't. If I were on the phone, I'd be filming it right now. Oh hell, he's looking at me. I gotta go. Let's go, Shane. Come again? Yeah. Did I hear Winston Churchill? I'm sorry, honey, that was a reflex. Well, I'm a little worried about you.
What was another one?
Your body, your teeth. That's so much sugar. Hey.
You only live once, you know?
You do. Well.
Let's go, Taylor. Home run.
You know, you got me. Let me try one. I don't know. What the hell? No, I need a clean one, sweetie. Give me fresh. Thank you. All right, it's not that bad. You need to get your blood work checked today. All right, Jake.
That was great. It's like to eat a Kit Kat bar.
What'd you say? Yeah, I think that was
just not breaking it apart. That's like a perfect choice for that particular candy bar.
Yeah, that was but that was a co-write with the other my scene partner there, Mackenzie Trent, super funny comedian from Nashville, Tennessee. Nashville, that's right, she's from Nashville. She's a Southern girl. She's awesome. But yeah, and it's like stuff like that where it's that's a bit that only works at that stage. You can't like that's not like a stand-up bit. So
Yeah.
it's
It's
and
it's
that's
it's
kind
the
of
oh
the
my God, I can't believe this is happening right in front of me sort of like shock value of like it. I'm sure that
yeah,
room was just like bursting, right?
yeah. And here's the thing, that was like the fifth time we'd done that sketch. Like
Oh,
the
your
first and
poor
second
teeth.
time. I know. Hopefully something comes from it so I can afford better dental care.
Yeah, holy shit.
But it was that was so much fun to do because we pitched it and everybody was laughing and our director was just like, I guess like we'll say.
Yeah.
And just the first time it happened, it was that was so much fun. And I was breaking so hard on stage and trying to eat at the same time and not choke. So it's like, but again, it's just so interesting to be like, that's comedy. Um, but it's like there's also like a weird because you know, when you show up to an open mic or you show up to a stand-up set, it's just you're ready to go, you got your notebook.
Yeah.
But like for a sketch show, you have a suitcase full of props, funny wigs, like,
Yeah.
and
You pull
then
up with like a one of those wheelie suitcases.
really suitcases and then also part of my pre-show, sorry, dogs
Yeah.
next door are barking.
It's okay.
Pre-show ritual is walking across the street to 7-Eleven to go buy 10
Yeah, I was
crunch
gonna
bars
say.
from a guy who's just like, what are you doing, man? What's
What are you
going on?
using these for? Halloween is done, sir.
Halloween's done, man.
You should have
um
been 15 chocolate bars.
yeah.
The fact that they just keep coming out of the bag and you have no idea how many are in that bag also just adds another layer of like humor, just like suspense almost, because you see the bag there and you're like, there's no way he's pulling another one from the bag.
I Yeah, I think there's like, and that's why there's such a really good, interesting connective tissue with sketch comedy and like horror and suspense. It's like there
Yeah.
is such like a
They put like the bomb
it's
under the
such
table that they keep cutting back to, and you're like, these people are talking to this table. They don't even know there's a bomb under there. And they cut
yeah,
back to the
man. But
conversation that's all chill. It's kind of that same like device almost.
yeah, but like I said, with energy, it's like finding the right energy to eat chocolate bars on stage. It
Yeah.
seemed kind of relaxed and also seemed kind of like in the zone. Um, so yeah, that's what that was 2 weeks ago. So took this past week off, but start new shows up on Sunday and all that stuff. It's all kind of starting from zero again.
Yeah. Took it off to get your blood work
So
checked or
I had to get my blood work check. Swim 100 laps, burn
yeah.
off. I started
Go for like
waking. I started
8 mile
waking.
runs every day.
I started waking up Monday mornings with the taste of metal in my mouth. Like it's just
You should do like the Rocky, like a perfect YouTube video for that would have been like you replicating like a Rocky, like kind of getting ready for the fight, and then just cut to like that sketch of you plowing down like
just
chocolate bars.
yeah. But again, yeah. No, that's I like that. Um, but I think the interesting thing is that is the place for that sketch and comedic idea to work.
Yeah.
Like you can't film it because you're like, oh, you're just spitting these out in between takes. There's something, and it's like that's your challenge is like, what is it about live theater and sketch comedy where those two meet? And
Mm-hmm.
what can you do to get the most out of it for the people in the audience?
Yeah. Keep that
And
magic alive.
keep the magic alive. And it's also just, it's such an interesting and fun challenge to find the connective tissue, you know, that connective tissue of just live theater and comedy. And because for me, my favorite experiences there have always been watching things where I'm like, I can't believe this is happening.
Mm-hmm.
It's always the most fun. And we have so many talented people in Sunday Company right now. There's a guy, Andres Parada is so funny. He was just on America's Got Talent.
Wow.
and he is just a guy who always puts up a great show. And during pitch, whenever he goes up, you're just like leaning in, like, all right, what's next?
Like I can't wait to
It
see.
is.
I love people like
I
that.
can't wait to. Yeah. Oh man.
So what do you do? Like, do you do
But
anything other than like rehearsing, like for yourself personally to, get ready or prepare the energy that you're going to be putting into all these different characters the night of? Like, what's that day like leading up to the show for you?
it's a blur. It's like
You just try to do your daily
like
routine
yeah,
and like, oh, it's like a
yeah.
thing on your checklist, like do a show tonight.
Stay alive. Like, yeah, you
Yeah,
have the
yeah,
tiger by the tail.
yeah. Okay.
Sometimes what I'll do, and just specifically, the biggest challenge for me was always getting off book. Because
Mhm.
sometimes I think like if you come from stand up or you come from improv, you're like, I have the general idea, I can wing it. And that's
Mhm.
almost better because then it gives you the fun of kind of figuring it out on the spot. And that's always what I found so interesting about guys like Jerry Seinfeld and Steve Martin. Everything, their entire act is so dialed in, and
Mhm.
it's their level of performance that every time that they do their set, it's they just bring it to the performance to kind of make it it's illusion. It's part of the magic trick. Um, but getting off book is and for me that's sometimes it's sitting in my car reading through a sketch on my iPhone and then listening to it while I work out all day so that I can
Yeah.
memorize it
I used
or
to do
while
that
I'm doing
before
other things.
auditions. I
Yeah,
would
it's like that.
read the other person's part that I was having the conversation with, and then like mouth, like not speak into the microphone my part so that the spacing was correct. And then I would just listen to myself basically doing the other lines talking and then try to fill in that space in the middle of what my response is, and that opens up the next thing. And I always found that helped me
Yeah.
like memorize shit.
Yeah. But I mean, I think, and it's not like with stand up where it's just like you kind of go by topic, be like, I want to talk about this.
Yeah.
And
As
then
long as I know where I
from
start
there,
and I end, it's a bullet point list basically of
it's,
like
yeah,
names. Yeah, yeah.
but it's just the level of coordination you have to have amongst other people. You can't, yeah, that doesn't really work.
And your
So
awareness too, right? Like you'd have to be like hyper aware of, it's basically like playing in a band. Like, where is the guitar player at right now? Are they on cue? Are they like where they're supposed to be? Is the drums like where they're supposed to be? Do I need to slow down? Do I need to speed up? Like,
absolutely, that's the perfect analogy. You're in a band,
yeah.
and but you're in, I usually am in like, I don't know, average at like 6 to 8 sketches every Sunday night. So it's like you're in
Six different
6 and 8,
bands.
6 different bands. But
Yeah,
you,
yeah,
for
yeah.
some, you're playing drums, and for others, you just walk in, shake a tambourine, and leave.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But to be totally honest, those are like the toughest ones, especially if you have like one line buried in like a through paid
Yeah.
sketch.
You're the
But
walk-on milkman,
yeah, exactly.
You got to
But
make your thing.
yeah, I gotta show up with the milk, man. They need me. Um, but yeah, no, it took the week off to kind of catch my breath. It's so much fun, but it's a lot. So, and then at the end of after every opening and closing in your 6 month run, you kind of, I mean, it's like, it's not as, it's obviously putting together an hour is very hard, but
Mhm.
like, um, you burn your material. You're like it's all new stuff.
Wow.
And yeah, and you try to stretch your legs as a performer and writer to just be like, all right, what else? What other sketches and scenarios can I do? So after this, I'm probably gonna meet up with a couple other people in Sunday Company and write some sketches.
Nice.
Um, yeah.
I love that. I love that you
Yeah,
get such a
man.
quick
So
turnover on an idea too, because that's what I love about stand up is that I can have the idea today and then tonight get on a stage and, talk it out basically.
but that's like the beauty. That's what's so great about stand up is that it's such a real time art. You can go up
Totally.
and talk about something that happened that day. Um, that's what I love about it. But
Yeah.
yeah.
I want to provide,
And again,
I was going
what
to
were
say,
you
I
saying?
wanted to, we can finish your sentence there and then it's because I'm segueing. So
No, I'm trailing off. Go
that's okay.
for it.
I was going to say, I want to provide context for listeners as well. We met because I was in a desperate situation looking for a job, and I found Andrew Hobson LinkedIn, and it was like producer for Burt Kreischer, and I was like, well, that'd be cool. And you were like one of the only people that actually like responded back to me, and then like had a chat with me about like the whole situation, and still gave me like a decent advice, and then kept in touch as like a network. So I appreciate you for being so open to meeting a new person who just messaged you on LinkedIn.
LinkedIn is so weird.
It's
What's
so
going
weird.
on?
It's
It's
such
so
a weird
weird.
place. But
It's so weird.
how
It's
did you
like
get started with like that opportunity?
um Bert, I worked with Bert from 2019 up until 2000 late 2022 just because I joined the Sunday Company, so
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't work for him full time because he's, obviously is on stratospheric. Um, well, full circle, but getting back to what I was talking about earlier, um, my family is kind of connected to stand up, uh, you know, my whole life. Bert is my first cousin, so I've known him my whole life.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
So I grew up with him. I grew up in Philadelphia, and he grew up in Tampa, Florida, and he was older than me. But every time he'd come up, he was just like a little tornado party with this
I bet.
hilarious guy who was, I think he was in college when I first met him. That's when I first time I remember meeting him was at our cousin Katie's wedding, and he was just this goofball. And then he moved up to New York, so I kind of watched his journey through stand up, and he worked really hard and got to where he is. And I think it's an interesting conversation about family and art. And I'm from a pretty tight knit Irish Catholic family, so I think, and that, again, Groundlings was so kind of out of left field. I felt
Mhm.
like, oh, this is a good way for me to kind of blaze my own path.
Yeah, of course.
Um, but toured with him for 3 years. I put together his videos. I edited
Mhm.
his kind of content and videos. Um, yeah, came up with ideas for like funny promos. And a lot of times, I mean, that was such a fun challenge because, and again, this all comes back to improv. It's all about like, sometimes you'll get footage and you're like, all right, how can we contextualize this and make this hilarious, to promote dates and all that
Yeah.
other stuff. And
And
there's
it's
so many
timing you're
things.
working on too, right? Like editing is a lot of it is like getting the timing down of like, okay, I'm
Oh,
gonna hit them
absolutely.
with
Yeah.
this and the music goes
It's,
up here and like
it's such a, again, it's a non-exact science.
mhm.
So it's like all intuition, but it's, when it hits and it works, it's so gratifying.
Yeah.
And but like but yeah, really clear. I had a really fun kind of creative language with Bert. And then when he got his movie, he brought me with him to Serbia for 4 months and worked on the
Damn.
movie and pitched jokes on the movie. I got to watch Peter Atencio direct the movie. He's amazing. Directed all of Key and Peele. This is the best sketch comedy show of the past decade.
Love that show.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the show's
thousand
incredible. I mean,
percent.
it's so good. I mean,
There are things in that show, like language that they wrote, that have become like part of culture. You know,
No, like
even like the
Chiquelin,
names. Yeah, yeah. A
Pilate. Yeah, I
Ron.
mean that
And any
Aaron
friend of mine
my
that's named Aaron is getting called A Ron at least once.
it is
You know?
one. It's like it's a long. It's on par with Mark Cowbell in terms of like the
Yeah,
best comedy sketch.
yeah, yeah.
But and it's a great comedy sketch. But for me, the sketch that when I watched that show, um, the sketch that spoke to me the most was the Ray Parker Jr. singing unproduced songs to movies. So like the Ghostbusters guy, and he's selling a CD consisting of different songs he made from movies that for
Did
some
get
reason
picked
or
up.
another were not released. So like he's just oh my god, it's Jordan Peele just pretending to be Ray Parker Jr. Singing a song to Pelican Brief and the Deep Impact Armageddon dual song. It's to me, I was like, that's genius. That's
Yeah,
incredible.
yeah.
That's like someone made that sketch just for me. That's
You're like,
and
who
that's you know
thinks of this? That
that's yeah.
Jimmy Carr, I just heard him on YMH, and he said something really interesting. He was like, he was speaking about stand-up specifically, but I think it does translate to like sketch and, you know, even comedy movies. He's like, you're allowing the audience inside of your brain to see the ideas, and they're allowing you basically inside of their nervous system because like they're getting inside of your head and seeing the way that you think and finding that funny. And so the funny is there, like the natural response that you're creating in their body, the endorphin rush, the like maybe like the rush of thoughts and ideas that they get from that, or just like the feeling good. Like there's just this like you go to like a live comedy event and you leave there with just this like energy, just you're just like re-energized. You're like, I feel like
No, yeah,
happier, you know?
it's the most fun. Yeah. And for me, it's like, yeah, it's such an endorphin rush. It, it, there's so many sketches I think of that what I think of is watching a sketch because like the cool thing about being in the Sunday Company is that you can kind of you have access to all these old sketches
Mhm.
because they save them on they have they just have them in their archives.
It's amazing.
Yeah, so I'm watching old Melissa McCarthy sketches, and I mean she's a genius. She's so her performances are incredible. But there's one sketch I watched, and I'm like, it's the Ranch Valley, it's the ranch dressing focus group sketch.
That's
She did it on
already just
SNL.
a hilarious idea.
She did it on SNL.
Yeah.
But I think she first did it at
Rich
Groundlings.
Valley Focus Group.
And
Just the name alone.
it is the perfect sketch to watch live because it's pure spectacle.
Uh,
And if you watch it, you're like, oh my God, to watch her do it live. And I got to watch um I'm trying to think of who's in the sketch with her on the Groundling stage. I think it's her, the great Edie Patterson from with Righteous Gemstones.
mm,
She's so fucking funny. She's so good. Um, Mikey Day and Kevin Kirkpatrick and
Mikey Day on Is It Cake? That's like a perfect role for it.
oh yeah,
He
that is
kills
yeah.
it.
But uh, Melissa McCarthy just taking wrench dressing to the face, just imagining what it would have been like to have been in that theater.
Yeah, just
I mean,
smell the
that's
ranch
that
dressing.
smell the wrench dressing to watch it live. Like,
It's
what a
crazy.
treat.
Yeah.
That has like that's like, and that to me, that's like the lifeblood of sketch comedy. That's the thing that's like irreplaceable. And everybody talks about AI and this, that, and the other thing. It's like there is no substitute
No.
for watching another person do something like that live.
AI would never in a million years think of that. That takes soul. Like that takes like an artist
Oh yeah, it's well,
soul and
it's like
childhood to be like, I'm gonna do this silly, ridiculous thing, and it kills.
yeah, well, from like a very vulgar point of view, it's
Yeah,
like you watch a
yeah,
you watch a trapeze artist walk through the trapeze because you're like he might fall. Like
yeah, yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
kind of crazy.
Oh
But
man. There's a question that I always ask guests towards the end of the podcast as well, and it's if you could make a phone call to the 15-year-old version of yourself and give them a piece of advice, knowing what you know now, knowing it also won't affect your current timeline, so don't have to worry about anything you're saying having any impact on your life. It's just going to impact his. What do you say?
oof, Jesus, it's a tough one. Uh oh yeah, I think it's just like, and actually, would tell him what I think when I'm backstage before
Mm,
I'm about to go on, which is like, oh, don't worry, you're gonna get to do it. You get to have like even if it's just 100-person stage on Melrose, because it's it's such a great historical fun stage. It's a real cool thing just to be a part of that history. I would just say like like just be ready because it's a fun, and that's the thing. It's my 6 months ends in May, and it may or may not continue. But the last thing you want to do is finish it and be like, I didn't give it my all,
mm-hmm.
or I wasn't totally ready for it. Oh, just be ready. That's it.
Be ready. I like that. People watching on YouTube, you can follow Andrew at Andrew F. Hobson on Instagram. It's also Andrew F. Hobson on YouTube. Go subscribe on there as well. Anywhere else that
Yeah.
you want people to check you out?
Um,
Go see you live if you live in
yeah. Oh man.
California. Go
Yeah.
to a Groundling show.
Go come if you're in California, if you're in Los Angeles for the next 6 months, come see me live. Come say hi in the lobby afterwards and talk sketch comedy. And hopefully I can make it up to where are you? You're in
Ottawa, Canada. You want to come visit the
where
Parliament buildings and
yeah.
yeah, come on out.
We'll go to a Senators game.
Yeah,
Did
yeah, yeah, for sure.
what's your is that what's your team of choice?
Oh, you know what? I cheered
I'm
for the Leafs, the Toronto Maple Leafs, my whole life, and then I just was like, "What am I doing? Like, this team sucks. They haven't made the playoffs. Like, they haven't won a cup since 1967." And then the Las Vegas Knights became like a team, and I was like, "Well, if there's any time to bandwagon a team, it's a team that just started with the NHL." And then I did, and they were like that's like a Disney story. You take these like
That's
third
crazy.
stringers, they were third string on all their teams. They weren't getting playtime. They put them all together on a team and they made it to the playoffs. Like they didn't win, but they made it to the playoffs. Like they made it to
Yeah.
the finals. That's a story. I don't know why anyone hasn't made a movie about that yet.
I'm begrudgingly a Philadelphia Flyers fan for life. So
Begrudgingly. They have a
it's
rough
crazy.
history of like being fucking rock'em sock'em robots on that ice.
Oh yeah. Oh well, it was before my time, but the Broad Street Police. I'm trying to think. That's mid 70s.
Yeah.
When I grew up and I started watching kind of hockey, it was the Legion of Doom, Eric Lindros,
Yeah, he was
Mikhail
great.
Renberg, John LeClaire. Yeah, we just some great teams, but and just could never piece it together. And then
Mhm.
I think there was a soft goal against the Blackhawks in 2010 in overtime to lose the Stanley Cup, and I was like, I gotta check out. I can't. I'm done.
It's too stressful.
It is. It's too stressful, and it's also like you've broken my heart
Yeah, yeah.
so many times. Dropping series to I think. Uh,
I love going to Sens games here because when I was in Toronto, and I hated going to the Maple Leafs games because it's all guys in suits coming down from the finance district that have just like they have a row of seats just bought for them, and they have the front row, so they're not like fans sitting on the front row. But in Ottawa, it's in Canada, so it's like you have to drive out of the city to go see a game. So that's a real fan that's going to go 25, 30
Yeah.
minutes out of the city to the arena to watch their team play. And when they score, that whole building just like shakes, like it's crazy.
I haven't been to a Flyers game in forever, but it's Philadelphia sports. I'm in Los Angeles, and if the Eagles are playing the Rams, like 50% of what are SoFi, if they played SoFi, yeah, SoFi Stadium, it'll be all Eagles fans.
Oh, no
It's
way.
crazy. Yeah, but New York Rangers fans will come down to the Wells Fargo Center when Rangers are playing the Flyers. It's I don't know,
That's
bad.
wild.
But
It's
hopefully they can
bad.
piece together. I would love to, more than anything, see a Stanley Cup. Oh my God.
Being there when a cup
Just-
comes to your city is nuts. Like I was in Toronto when the Raptors won the NBA finals, and that was like nothing else.
They beat the Sixers
Yeah.
game 7.
Dude,
That-
we
I'll
partied
never
like
forget.
crazy.
Oh,
There
that's
was
so much
people
fun.
hanging from the like street lamps in Dundas Square. Like it was just unreal. The whole crowd was singing "Oh Canada" at one point. Like it was the most peaceful like celebration.
It's so much fun.
It's amazing.
That's
It's the
great.
best time.
Yeah.
If the Leafs ever
Yeah.
won a cup, Toronto, that would be unreal. Because like I said, 1967 was the last time that they won. So
They would
Quite-
go.
quite
I
a
can't
drought.
imagine how nuts they would go. I remember when the Canucks lost.
they lit their city on
And-
fire.
Yeah, that's some Philadelphia stuff right there. That's like Philadelphia.
That's crazy.
So
Old Philly. Well, man, thanks for
Old
making the
Philly.
time. I really appreciate it.
of course,
uh,
Johnny. Thanks, man.
Yeah, I'll send you this link over to you whenever it's ready. But I hope you have a great rest of your night and write some killer sketches.
Yeah, let's hope so. Let's hope
Alright.
this doesn't bomb, but we'll see.
Nah, you'll be great. All right,
Alright.
later, man. Keep
Thanks,
in
Johnny.
touch.
See you, man. Bye.
You've been listening to The Johnny Rogers Show. New episodes air every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.